Hey guys, so it's the 18th of June in 2025 and I'm here in Krakow in Poland, and today I'm going to make you a guided tour and I'm going to tell you as much information as possible before you come here to Krakow about the scams that you need to avoid here in Krakow and about the misleading situations that can happen when you're here on holiday in Krakow. And I want to give you as much information as possible with money saving tips so you have a fantastic holiday and a trouble-free holiday here in Krakow. So the first thing you need to watch out for is there's so many lovely restaurants here around Krakow, but you need to watch out for hidden service charges on top of the bill, because when you go to the restaurant, for example, you eat in the restaurant, you sit down, you order the food from the menu and everything else, and then what's been happening to the tourists, and they're complaining about this a lot, is after the meal they've noticed an extra charge on top of their bill, which is a service charge. This service charge is normally 12.5% or 10% that is just added on, compulsory, added on to the bill, whether you're happy with the service or not. And tourists are really unhappy to see that added onto the bill because they had no idea about that service charge before they went into the particular restaurant or the cafe that they went into. This happens a lot at the main market square in Krakow. It's happened in some places in Kazimierz, in the Jewish area of Krakow, but a number of different places are doing this naughty trick. And this is just a way to make more money for the owners of the business. That money does not go, I asked the waitresses and I asked the waiters, and that money does not go to the waitress. That money is being withheld by the owner of that restaurant. The owner is keeping that money for himself. So that's what I would consider a complete scam. Here in Poland, for example, there are no service charges on top of the bill in all the different Polish cities. I've been to all the different Polish cities. On my YouTube channel you see my guided tours from most of the Polish cities, so please have a look at my other tours as well on my channel. Travel with Col, with a C-O-L, and it is free to subscribe to my channel as well, guys, and you'll see lots of tours with my tips and recommendations there on my channel. So yeah, so watch out for service charges. When you go into a restaurant, just ask them the question, do you have a service charge on top of the bill? If they have a service charge, walk out of that restaurant, because that is a scam. In Krakow, we don't have service charges on top of the bill at legitimate restaurants. That's just at tourist traps where they have the service charge on top of the bill. Now, when you leave a tip in Krakow, make sure you leave the tip in cash. If you leave the tip in cash, that will go directly to the waitress or the waiter that has served you at your table. If you leave the tip on your credit card, it's very likely that that tip will be withheld by the owner of the restaurant. The owner of the restaurants here are very, very greedy. The majority of owners are very, very greedy, and they want to make as much money as possible out of tourists, and they will withheld that service charge of 10 or 12.5% is going into the pockets of the owners of the business, and the staff are not seeing that money that you're paying on top of the bill. So it just doesn't benefit you to pay that, and avoid tourist traps when you're here. There's over 20 million tourists a year coming to Krakow, and some of these restaurants are trying on to maximize their profits, and they want to make as much money as possible out of you as well. Another thing to watch out for is additional charges on top of the bill. Now in Krakow there are some additional charges on top of the bill for things like milk with your tea, butter with your bread, for example, and some other things like extras like bread or sauces or whatever else. So you might assume in Great Britain or Ireland, for example, milk with your tea is free in all the places that you go to, but that is not the case here in Krakow in Poland. A number of places they charge me 4 zloty extra for milk with my tea. 4 zloty is around €1. So basically you're paying €1 extra for the milk inside your tea. So you want to watch out for that, because they shouldn't be charging you additional charges like that. Just to warn you, because you don't want to spend too much money when you're on holiday. You want to keep it within your budget and everything else. One thing to watch out for as well is some places they'll come up to you to serve you in the restaurant, and they'll ask you if you want a big beer or a small beer. So sometimes they'll give you a 1 litre beer. The big beer might be a 1 litre beer instead of a half litre of beer. So that's just up to you to check the menu before you order anything. Check the menu very, very carefully before you order anything and get yourself familiar with the prices. If the prices seem too high, like double the price what they should be or whatever else, don't feel scared to just walk out to that particular restaurant as well. Another thing some of the tourists complained about, I had a chat with some of the tourists, and one thing they complained about was when they were going to steakhouses here in Krakow. They were going to some steakhouses here in the city, and they said there was additional charges on top of the bill. So they kind of looked at the menu, they looked at the price of the steak, they thought, okay, it's a similar price to what you pay in England for a steak or whatever else. But then they found out that when the waitress came over to the table, and the waitress said to them, do you want French fries with your steak? For example, they said, yeah, okay, we'll have French fries. They thought it was included. They said, would you like vegetables with your steak? And yes, yeah, I'll have the vegetables. Well, everything, yeah. So the next thing is when they got the bill at the end, they were billed separately for the steak, separately for the French fries, and separately for the vegetables. So they paid, it turned out that the bill was much, much more expensive than what they thought it would be. French fries are not cheap here in Krakow, for example, and the additional things on top, like the vegetables. So now I'll just walk you, this is Yarna Street, just coming up here now. Let me just show you to the right side. So you've got Pod Papagami, which is an Irish pub straight ahead down Yarna Street there. And when we turn left down Yarna Street here, we have got the main market square. There's a very good pub here called the Devny Kotsor. It's a Czech pub. It's very, very good value for money. You can actually get a pint of beer for about £3 in the Devny Kotsor pub. So you tend to find here in Krakow, if the pubs have English or Irish names, they tend to be inflated in terms of the price. But pubs, for example, with a Polish name, tend to be almost half the price because they are geared towards Polish people and for Polish people. So it tends to be much, much cheaper to go to a Polish pub here than to go to an English pub here or to go to an Irish pub here. Another one that happened was I had a friend from England who came over, and he was walking down the road, down one of the back streets, and he stumbled upon a Belgian pub. So he went inside without checking the prices, sat down, had a beer, chose a beer out the fridge. I believe it was one of the Belgian beers. Ends up that the beer was £20 for the particular beer that he ordered, about 100 zloty more or less. He found out when he got the bill and had a couple of beers. That is too much money. So what you want to do is check the menu before you order anything. If there's a beer like that, 100 zloty or something like that, you got to a situation where you sat down, you had a couple of beers, but you've not checked the price, so you have to pay that bill because you didn't check the price before you went into that bar, and it ended up where it was 100 zloty for a beer, which is £20 for a beer. In my opinion, that's a tourist trap, because in Krakow you don't pay, or any Polish city, you don't pay £20 for a beer. Most of the bars here around the main market square, they're around £6 for a pint of beer now. Some of them are £5 for a pint of beer, but you definitely don't pay £20 for a pint of beer here. Now, the other thing that you need to watch out for here in Poland is Polish customs and Polish laws that you are not familiar with as a foreigner. For example, in Poland, when you're crossing the road in Poland, you only cross the road on a green light. If you cross the road illegally, and that's on the red light, then that is considered jaywalking, and that is actually a crime, so you will get a fine for that. You will be actually fined if you do that in Poland, cross the road on that particular light. Other things you need to watch out for are, for example, when you're getting on the tram, you buy a ticket from the machine on the tram in, well, some of them are cash and some of them accept card. So you buy your ticket when you get onto the tram, but you need to stamp your ticket. If you don't stamp your ticket is not valid, and the conductor will come over to you and you will get a very big fine. Now in Poland, it is a legal requirement to carry identification at all times. Hey. You must carry your ID with you at all times. If the police stop you, you must show your ID to the police. That is a legal requirement here in Poland. Another thing is, here across the square, we go across, see the clock tower there. To the right side of the clock tower, you've got the police station over there. And just so you know, you cannot report a crime at that police station. So for example, when my mobile phone got stolen, I went to that police station over there to report the crime. They gave me an address of a different police station to go and report the crime at in the suburbs of Krakow. And you have to go to this different police station in the suburbs to report that crime. Then when you get to the other police station they send you to, you find that you have to pay for an interpreter in order to report that crime. So that keeps the crime statistics down, it keeps the crime levels down on paper, and it keeps all the tourists coming here over and over again. I think Krakow is one of the safest cities in Europe in terms of there is not much violent crime here at all. I've never seen violent crime here at all. I think it's relatively safe compared to other European cities here. It's kind of quite a safe place for a holiday, but things do happen here, and unfortunately the police station at the main market square is just a gimmick. You can't report a crime at that police station at the main market square here. Now basically that police station there at the main market square, it gives you a feeling of safety, but ultimately you cannot report your crime there at that particular police station. So today the weather's been lovely. It's been about 27 degrees today. Really nice, lovely weather today because this is the summertime now and we have a long hot summer until the middle of October here. Sorry about the camera there, guys. So the next scam I want to tell you about is the strip club scam. So you've got these promoters, scammers, salespeople, they come around the streets late at night. The other night I was with my mate walking down the road about 1, 2 in the morning. We've been to a couple of pubs on Florianska Street, and that's where they hit you on Florianska Street, on Jona Street and on Siewska Street. These are sales promoters. They're very persuasive as well, and they want to persuade you to go into various strip clubs and gentlemen's clubs at night. They will give you a promotion, like an unbelievable offer, like 2 for 1 on your first beer if you go into the club, or free vodka shots if you go into the club. They'll tell you that it's going to be absolutely amazing when you go inside, it's going to be a brilliant night, and try to persuade you to go in. But when you go into that strip club, you will have many problems. All the people that go inside get scammed. They will take every single penny out of your pocket, and they will do everything to scam you and to get all of your money. These businesses are not legitimate businesses. They are scammers. They are run by organized groups, and they're organized in a way that they target tourists, and they'll target you after drinks late at night. They're even in the street at 1 in the morning and 2 in the morning, and they'll be persuading you to go into their clubs. And if you go into their clubs, they will take all of your money. So the techniques they use at these strip clubs, one of the techniques they use is they drug your drinks with a drug that gives you memory loss, and you agree to everything that they say. So drugs is one way that they do it, so you're not going to remember the next day where you've been or what's happened. Another way to do it is when you're in the club and you want to pay for your dance or your drink or anything else, they ask you to pay on your credit card, and then they say to you, I'm sorry, your card payment's failed. Can you put your PIN number in again? So you put your PIN number in again, and it says, I'm sorry, your card payment's failed. So you put your PIN number in again, and they ask you to do it again because you need to pay the bill. But they have billed you multiple numbers of times because you put your card number in a number of times, and they have billed you over and over again, so you have multiple payments taken from your credit card. Now what will happen is when you go into these clubs, there'll be girls sitting in the clubs, and the girls will start to talk to you. I've interviewed many tourists about this to get information on this one before doing this tour. I've been here for 10 years now, so I know exactly how it works. And these girls will talk to you and make nice conversation with you and ask you some questions when you go inside. Now the next things, the girl will ask you to buy her a drink. Now, when you buy this girl a drink, her drink is a separate price to your drinks. So for example, a vodka Coke for you will be one price, and there'll be a separate menu for the girls that you have not seen. Maybe it's on the table or maybe it's in the background somewhere. And the drink for the girl will be very, very expensive, and it will be a totally different price to your drink. So there's different prices for the girls to the prices for your drinks, and that's how that's how your bill will add up to a very, very high price on the bill. Another one is there might be a hostess fee. So what will happen is you're sitting talking to the girl, you're having a nice conversation and a few drinks with the girl and everything else. You're taking her time, she works for the club, and there might be a hostess fee for the time of the girl that you're talking to or for the table that you're sitting on. So be aware there might be a table service charge as well at those strip clubs, but one way or another, they are going to make you pay a massive, massive, massive amount of money. Now, it was in 2023, there was a 36-year-old Englishman called Mark, and he died in one of the strip clubs here in Krakow, so it is not safe at all to go to these clubs. There's another fellow that's on holiday here as well, and he's actually blind in one eye after being shot many, many times with a pellet gun. So I'd say it's not safe at all to go inside these places. Be very, very careful if they offer you to go in, and do not accept those invitations, even if you are very drunk. Then in Krakow, you've also got the new one that came in a couple of years ago here, and the new one was the charity scam. So there's people walking around Krakow, and they are looking for you to donate money to various charities. Some of these charities are legitimate, some of these charities are fake, but there's a lot of fake charity scams going on here in Krakow, and they will ask you for money for a various charity. One of them that goes on that I've seen, they came over to me and they said they want money because they're from Ukraine, they work for a charity there. Children are injured because of the war and in the hospitals, and they are homeless because of the war, and they need a donation if you support Ukraine and everything. So they ask you to put cash into a box. Now, I'm not saying that they're all dodgy. Some of them will be legitimate as well, and some of them will be dodgy, but you need to work out, you need to Google those charities and work out if the charity is legitimate. You need to look at the person that's selling that to you. Are they legitimate? Are they pocketing the money? And just make sure the charities that you're donating money for are real. Check their paperwork and everything else in case it's a scam. The other one is the petrol for his car scam I've heard about recently. So a guy was hanging around and he was asking tourists for money for petrol for his car. His car had run out of petrol. I don't know if that's legitimate. I don't think it's legitimate, but they were asked to hand over money for petrol for the car. Another one I've seen at Galeria Krakowska, I know it's happened a number of times, is money for the train ticket. So there's a guy there at Galeria Krakowska, and he's asking you for some money for his train ticket. That's a common scam all over Europe, and it's just a way of begging, really, and an easy way for them to get some money off tourists. So don't give them money for their train ticket if they ask you for money in the street for a train ticket as well. I organise all the day trips to Auschwitz and Birkenau, the Wieliczka salt mines, Zakopane and the thermal baths, and I organise sightseeing city tours by electric car, guided tours. So if you need any trips or tours, just make a comment, guys, and I can organise your trips and tours for you at a very competitive price and directly in English. But one thing you need to watch out for, if you're booking these tours or these trips, and if you're booking them online, be very, very careful, because people are booking the trips online and they've been cancelled at the last minute when they've got to Krakow. They book these trips on advertising websites, advertising portals like Get Your Guide, Buy a Tour, Civitatis, Head Out, on these websites. They are not tour shops, they are third-party advertising portals. They have the right to cancel your trip at any time if you book on a third-party advertising portal. Do not book your trips on third-party advertising portals. Another thing you should know, if you go and visit Auschwitz, you need ID, you need identification to enter Auschwitz. If you don't bring your photo identification with you to Auschwitz, you're going to be sitting on the bus for the whole day, and you're not going to be going into Auschwitz as well. That's another thing that you need to know. Another thing I'd like to tell you as well is that Auschwitz is not located in Krakow. It's located 1.5 hours away from Krakow. So you stay here on holiday in Krakow for your holiday and you're based here. And for example, we pick you up in the morning in Krakow and we drive you up to Auschwitz, and it takes about 1.5 hours drive to get from Krakow to Auschwitz. Auschwitz is not connected but well by public transport at all. Hey. So the problem is that if you go out to Auschwitz on your own, it's a very big problem to get there. It's not connected well by public transport at all, and it's a very, very big problem to travel there alone. So I wouldn't bother buying tickets directly from the Auschwitz website, because you need the transport to get there and back. With us, you have an English-speaking tour leader on our bus as well going there, so she can answer all your questions on the way and give you instructions, make it all easy for you. You also skip the queue with us as well when you get to Auschwitz. We take people there every single day. So yeah, it's much easier to go there with a tour operator or a tour agent rather than going there alone and trying to get there and, you know, getting lost when you get off the train, and then it's a 30-minute walk when you get off the train. It's very, very difficult to get to as well. So the thing to watch out for here at Krakow Main Market Square is, and all of Krakow as well, is wine is very, very expensive here in Krakow in the bars and restaurants. It's 150 zloty for a bottle of wine here in Krakow, which is much more expensive than what you pay in my hometown in Liverpool or most European countries or cities. Wine is very expensive here in Poland. Vodka is very cheap here in Poland. This is a vodka country. We have fantastic vodka at very low prices here in Poland. Now guys, if you're ordering beer, what you need to know is if you buy Polish beer is half the price of the big international brands of beer. What in Poland here they call it import, for example, and they'll have beers like Guinness that are for sale at very, very high prices. Some places here are actually 35 zloty, £7 for a pint of Guinness, and it can be £3.50, half the price for a pint of Polish beer. Now this building I'm just by now, this is called the Cloth Hall here. This is the entrance to the Cloth Hall through the middle here, and I'll just tell you that the prices are very expensive here in the Cloth Hall. As you enter the Cloth Hall, you'll see all the shops here, and as you enter there you see the hat shop, and they're selling hats for 520 Polish zloty. It's over £100 for a winter hat in there. It's unbelievable. The highly inflated prices, special prices just for tourists on the majority of the stands there. It's very, very expensive. And when you buy the amber there, the famous Polish amber there inside the Cloth Hall, you'll pay a much higher price, because these shops are only targeting tourists. Some of them have amber that's not real, the fake amber. Some of them have the real amber, but highly inflated, very, very expensive prices inside the Cloth Hall there as well. So guys, if you have any questions at all, please make a comment. And guys, it does help the channel if you will give me likes and give me some comments on there as well. It does help the video go high on YouTube. Guys, thank you very much for watching my guided tour today. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Travel with Col, and that's Col with a C-O-L. Cheers guys, thank you very much. Bye-bye.